Hi, I'm Patricia Tallman, and this is the Magical Living Open House. We are a group of sci-fi and fantasy nerds who love personal development, business development, and just all things fascinated about the world. And today I have a very special guest. I'm honored to have you, Mona. This is Mona Das. She's a trailblazer for environmental justice, racial equality, and housing affordability. Born to Indian immigrants, she lived experiences that fueled her fight for marginalized communities. A former Washington state senator, she passed impactful legislation and founded the award-winning BAWDKAS BAWDKAS documentary. Mona's passion for systematic change continues to inspire, and boy, do we need you now, girl. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having
Wow.
me.
So just launch me off. This is not my
Sure.
typical, but I am so really honored to have you here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to share my story. Thank you so much for having me.
My
It's an honor to
pleasure.
be here with you. Yeah, my story starts in the shower. I don't know about you, but I do my best thinking in the shower. And so one day I was visiting my brother and I got out of the shower and I literally got the download, talk about sci-fi from the
Yeah.
universe. And it was that I was going to be a senator. And so I got out of the shower and I told my brother, I'm going to be a senator. And we both just laughed because I'm very, very, very classically Indian. Half my family are doctors, the other half are engineers. So it was a really preposterous statement that I made. And we literally laughed. And it was that idea that I had, and maybe you've had these, and maybe some of your audiences had them too, where I just put it on the shelf because it just seemed so crazy.
Yeah.
But it was that idea that I brought down off the shelf, would dust it off every once in a while, still didn't make any sense, would put it back on the shelf. And it was that what I call BHAGs. It was my big, hairy, audacious goal, but I didn't know how to
Mm.
achieve it. I didn't know how I was going to achieve it. It made no sense to me. And so one day, I'm walking my dog, Cleveland, who, believe it or not, has more energy than me. And if I would stop, he would start pulling and barking and like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And I want to tell you that I literally saw a sign, Patricia. I saw a sign, but it was a yard sign. And it said Pramila Jayapal for Senate. And I knew four things by looking at that sign. I knew she was Indian. I knew she was a woman. I knew that it said Senate. And the most important thing is I knew if she could do it, I could do it.
Incredible.
And so
Incredible.
I
I got
decided to
chills.
run. Yeah, thank you. I know every time I tell the story, someone always says they get chills.
Yeah,
And
chills.
and it was, but it for me, it was that philosophy and theory that you have to see it to be it. So in order to
Mm.
be something, you have to see it. And as a
Right.
young woman of color growing up in this country, my family came to America with $6. So as a young woman of color growing up in this country, I never saw role models that looked like me ever.
Right.
And so that was the first time that I could see my vision and my dream in reality. And then that's what I said. Like, I knew if she could do it, I could do it. And, such as my run, I decided to run for office. It took me, several years after that to run. But I will tell you that I not only ran, I knocked on 8,000 doors personally to win. I flipped a seat in Washington State, which, if you know anything about politics, it's really hard to flip a seat. It's like almost
Yes,
impossible.
ma'am.
And I was able to do that. And the best part of the story has yet to come. This is the sort of like raise your hair on your arms moment that happened. So after I won an impossible race, I was in Olympia, which is our capital in Washington State. And I was choosing an office and I was with my chief of staff and we were kind of like, okay, all right, which office do we want? And I was first because my last name starts with D. So I was like first in the lineup alphabetically. So we got to see all the offices, our choices, and we got to pick. And we actually picked the smallest office because there was a view of the dome. So the Washington State Capitol is very much like the Washington, D.C. Capitol, where it's, a dome in the middle. The Senate is on the right, the House is on the left. And so I wanted to see that. We decided that even though it was the smallest building, smallest office, we could see straight to the dome, to be reminded of why we were there, why we were fighting. Like, we knew it was going to be really, really hard, and the work was going to be hard, and it was going to be exhausting. So we wanted to be able to be in the office and look at that dome and be reminded. My district was extremely diverse. There was 148 languages spoken in my school district. So as an immigrant myself, coming here speaking Hindi only for the first 5 years of my life, many of the people that I'm representing can't vote, right? They're not citizens, they're green card holders. And so I knew that I was representing them regardless of whether they could use their voice, which was their vote. And so it was really, really important to me to have that memory. And so this is the cool part of the story. So about 2 weeks later, I'm in my office and somebody comes in and says, "Oh my gosh, did you know that this was Pramila Jayapal's old office?"
No. Yes. Okay. More. What?
Yeah. And I always get emotional when I tell this part of the
It's so
story, because
beautiful.
it's like, you can't even plan that. You can't even dream. And like, for your folks that are watching this, like, and they have those big crazy dreams, like, you can't even dream this. You can't pick it. You can't predict it. You can't, right? Like, not only did she inspire me to run, but then I ended up having her same office. Like, it's that moment where serendipity and the universe and everything is conspiring to give you your dream bigger than you could have ever hoped. So
there's a million lessons in this, and the things that pop up for me, and something that I say a lot to our group is that, everyone has goals. We all have goals, and the goals, and I keep talking about how I discovered my path is always been by what thrills me, not by what makes sense. Like you're just saying, it didn't make sense that I wanted to.
Didn't make any sense.
Didn't make any sense. But on the path, things happen, and I always say too, you may or may not ever reach that particular goal, but you're going to find something because you're meant to be there.
Yeah.
So now you went on to do some really impactful work.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little more about that?
Yeah. So my MBA is in sustainable business. And so I ran on the environment. That was my biggest issue. And I will say that I'm so proud. I passed 28 bills in 4 years, which is unheard of. Unheard of. And there's a lot of talk about immigrants right now. So I will just say this. Immigrants get the job done. We really do, right? Like, my family came here with nothing and became, I became a senator. My father is an inventor and has 38 patents. If you want to talk about immigrants that are doing the work, it's like, we come here by choice. And so therefore we don't waste the opportunities that we get. And so for me, I didn't know how long I was going to stay. And I knew I wanted to make an impact as big as I possibly could while I was there. And so a lot of my bills had to do with the environment. I am known as the single-use plastics warrior in Washington State. And you've got turtles there in your background. So I will share that I passed not only banning plastic bags in the state of Washington, but I also banned styrofoam. And my biggest achievement accomplishment was that I banned all single-use plastics in the state of Washington. And so talk about turtles, right? Including straws and all of that stuff is available, but it's on request only.
That's really going to be a big turnaround when everyone gets behind that. There's other countries that are doing that, like Australia and New Zealand, where we just spent a year.
And Ireland and Canada. We are so far behind in this country. And I will say this, and this is the part that I'm the most proud of, because Washington is so progressive and we have a trifecta. We are able to pass really, really, really landmark legislation. Like most of these parts of my bill were first in the nation. And so it gives a blueprint for other states to pass those laws. So my parts of my bill have been passed in California and Hawaii and New York and
we're in Hawaii. It's Hawaii.
You're in Hawaii.
We're in Hawaii.
Okay, great. Yeah. So you get it.
Totally.
And in Oregon. And so that's the thing that I'm most proud of, is that the work that we put in is being replicated across other states.
One of the things that I learned from being part of the campaign for U.S. Department of Peace was that even if you can't get your entire bill passed, you can get portions passed.
That's
So
right.
when she's
That's right.
saying, when Mona is talking about getting pieces of her bill then passed in other states, they might not be able to do the comprehensive thing like she was
Yeah.
able to do in Washington, right, Mona? But they
Yeah.
can take a piece of it and
Yeah.
start
Or they
there.
can take the language that was written because it was vetted by, I mean, my one big bill,
Ah,
we had 108 stakeholders. So it was vetted by every industry, put input into it. And so, yeah, so they can
perfect.
take language.
Perfect. Wow, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
So it was all your blood, sweat, and tears,
Yeah.
and other people now can. That's amazing. That's
That's right.
amazing.
That's right. And I mean, I
Oh,
didn't do any of this alone. I had huge teams and, lots of coalition of support. And that's the thing, right? Like, in order to pass these laws, you have to have a coalition of support. And one of the things, and I think you'll appreciate this being from Hawaii, is the coalition included not only labor unions and environmental community, but it also included the chemical companies and
amazing.
the grocery stores, large and small grocery stores, all had input on the big bills. So, yeah,
Was that feels like that's one of the hardest things because you can't buy any produce or meat that's not wrapped in a single-use
that's right.
package, or you're
That's
using
right.
bags that are single use that are so
Yeah.
flimsy
So
you can't
some
really
products have exemptions, like meat products for
have to
styrofoam.
be
That's
right.
exempted. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
So they find other ways around that. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Until the
It
technology is out there to make it safe, and it's
clean.
hard. So yeah. Yeah. That's a
Mm.
great question, though.
Mm. We're here that they're starting that you can start to take, you can bring your own containers and they do they, deduct the weight of the container, your own
Yep.
container, and they'll put food
Yep.
into it, which is fantastic. Because that's a lot of single-use stuff right there. You go to buy
Of
anything in a
course.
deli or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed with this. You have no idea. I know how hard this is, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
Um, that's another beautiful thing about when you follow that, I call it a ping, or when you feel a signs from the universe or whatever you want to call it, and you get this thrill. Like, I don't know why, but this is like keeps showing up for me to be a senator. Um, the ball starts rolling, and it doesn't mean it's not going to take work, but you're going to
Yeah.
meet people, like you said. It takes a community to make these things happen. So, are we good?
So she's gonna vacuum real quick. I'll be right
Okay.
back with you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, but I knew she was gonna come in this morning. I was
That's
like,
all
oh,
right. No, you got to do it. That's
yeah.
good. It's a
All
good
right.
feeling having all
Yeah.
that. What else, Mona, do you want to make sure you get a
Yeah. We
chance
can
to
talk about the
say?
movie.
Yes, please do. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So, so the movie. So after I left the Senate, everyone wants to know, what did I
Of
do and
course.
why did I leave? And for me, believe it or not, I wanted to make bigger impact. I wanted to make more global impact. And so, what I found as a woman of color, it was a very hard position to be in, um, as far as just like pushing up a big boulder up a mountain sometimes, with issues. And I did do a lot of diversity and equity work as well. And so I wanted to make sure, I might have been the first in many ways, but I did not want to be the last. As I mentioned, I was born in Bihar. I was born in India, and I was born in a state called Bihar, which is, so I am the first person that was born in Bihar to ever be elected to state or federal office in the United States ever. And so, as I
Wow.
mentioned, like, I didn't want to be the last. Like, I knew I was the first, but I didn't want to be the last. So this movie is called Badass Women Doing Kick-Ass Shit.
Oh,
And
God.
as you gave the website earlier, and it's a movie about women running for office. 7 out of 8 of the women in the movie ran and won. And it's really a movie about inspiration and hope and living your BHAG and living your big dream. Because not everyone's going to run for office. Like, I get that. But we do need leadership, especially female women leadership in all aspects of the government,
Hmm.
or in all aspects of the world, right?
Mm,
Because
mm,
we've
mm.
seen what lots and lots of male leadership does. And so for me, this was my way of and hoping to inspire the next generation of women leaders.
Beautiful. I just
And the
love the
movie is
title.
available. It's on Amazon Prime and Apple TV and YouTube. So If you're able to put that in the show notes, that
We'll
would be
totally put
awesome.
all of these links in the show notes, so be sure to look below in the comment section. I'll make sure that
Thank
you have a way
you.
to see this movie.
Yeah, thanks.
My pleasure. So is there anything you would like to leave my audience with? Like, and if you had any wisdom for some women, what would you say?
Yeah, I think two things. First, impact starts with you. So the work that I
Mm-mm.
do now is I work with a lot of communities and people who want to make bigger impact in the world and just don't know how. And impact starts with you. If you want to make a difference and you want to make impact, it starts with you. You can do it. Each voice is important and needs to be
Yeah.
heard. So hopefully that's something that your folks can get from me. I mean, I was a little girl from India. Like I said, my family came here with $6. So how did somebody like me become someone who made huge impact? It's because I had that dream and I put one foot in front of the other. So my life is sort of, I go by three mantras. The first is to dream big, as we talked about, having those BHAGs. What is your BHAG? And as you mentioned, Patricia, like you don't know how you're going to get there. But
No.
first, you have to start with that dream. I'm sure you never really thought you were going to be a podcast host. And that dream became reality because you put one foot in front of the other and you made it happen. You told people, you talked about it, you hired folks, you whatever, you've gotten the right communities. And so that's the beginning, is that you have to have that dream. So dream big is my first mantra.
Okay.
My second mantra is believe in yourself, because a lot of people in your current life will not think you can do it and
Right.
will think it's crazy or preposterous. And when they tell you that you can't do that, what they're saying is they can't do that.
I hope
And
everyone
don't
takes
let,
that one in. Yeah.
that's right. And
Hmm.
don't let that stop you from your genius and your vision and your purpose. If your purpose is rooted deeply, you can
Hmm.
figure out a way to make it happen. So that's my second mantra, is to believe in yourself. And my third one is so simple, but it's just to keep going. It's to put one foot in front of the other and to literally keep going, because you never know how you're going to get there. But the only way to get there is by moving forward. By staying the same is not going to move your vision and your dream forward. And yeah, that's it. Those are my sort of like my three mantras that I live by.
What I'm really impressed by you as a little girl from India is that you somehow did that, that you kept moving forward even when people and your parents are trying to keep you safe and say, no, 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 that's crazy. So don't, that's dangerous. Don't do that. You're going to be embarrassed or something. And you somehow kept finding ways to take the next step. And I also want everyone to notice that this didn't happen overnight for Mona. This was a process of years,
Yeah,
but it
years.
kept going. So it's never too late. And think it, and just remember, if a little girl from India can follow her excitement and have a big, audacious dream, you deserve to have one too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, Mona, thank you so much. It's really an honor to meet you.
Thanks
And
for having
I
me.
might have to have to have you back. Would that be all
Okay.
right? We'll
Of
have to
course.
talk
Would
about
love
that.
that.
All
Yes.
right. Thank you so much.